Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana.
And I'm Brooke.
And this is episode 85. Today, we're going to be talking about Dead to Me, season 2, episodes 1 through 5, and also talk about the movies Jumanji, The Next Level, Becoming, Kickboxer, and Bloodsport.
All right.
Yeah. Before we dive in, how are you doing today, Brooke?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much. It's such a beautiful afternoon. The weather is so bright and sunny, but it's also really nice and cool in the shade. So I was out there this morning. It felt great.
Yeah. It's so good to get out. It's so good.
Oh, yeah.
So I was telling you that off mic, I was telling you that I went to Henry Cowell State Park and how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
And it's the first time we went there for a hike. It was a birthday hike, and it felt like a vacation. And isn't that amazing? Because I think because we were out, we were hiking, there wasn't that many people there. We had our masks on, we stayed, socially distanced, but the scenery was so beautiful. And I love redwoods. I love them.
Oh,
and
so pretty.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. It wasn't too warm, wasn't cool. It was perfect. And then we took a drive to the wharf and we ate clam chowder on the wharf. Of course, we did the whole curbside. We went, it said no mask, no service. So, of course, we had our masks on.
No dice.
Yeah. And so we went up, we ordered. They were really friendly, the people serving us. And all three of them asked me, are you being helped? Are you being helped? Are you being helped? So I'm like, yeah. It was Stag Narrows. So just to let, give them a shout out for being so kind. And so we just, got a clam chowder bowl. Oh, it was really good. It just hit the spot as we looked out. We were in our car and we looked out on the water, and the ocean was so pretty and the sun was glistening on it. It was just... And then, of course, we came home and we, were with the boys and we had dinner and we played cards. That was a fun-filled day for a birthday. I mean, for, my husband having a quarantine birthday, it was up there. Like, I went to bed and I was all excited. I was like, this was a great day. I loved it. And I think that I must have been rejuvenated from being out in those beautiful redwoods.
Oh, I bet. I believe it.
Yeah.
And that water, too, the glistening water you're describing. Oh, that sounds amazing. Thank you for sharing that experience and recommending those, local businesses. Oh,
yeah.
Love it.
That's
the
for
state
sure.
Parks, they've done a lot for people, right now. As long as you remain safe and healthy, keep getting out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, we've been watching Dead to Me season 2, and I was thinking about these two women, Jen, played by Christina Applegate, and Judy, played by Linda Cardinelli, and how their characters are so opposite from each other. I mean, really opposite from each other.
Yes.
And it made me start thinking about, relationships you have with your spouse or your significant other or the friends that you have. So, do you think opposites attract? What's your thought on that?
I think so. I think that also might help with people and dealing with their alter ego. So I think it's nice to have that opposite, that sort of imbalance and that chemical romance with that alter ego, because life is so exciting when you have, from one end to the other and that extreme in between. I think that it would be a really adventurous journey. So yes, I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Do you think opposites attract?
I definitely think that. 100%. My husband and I think we're opposites in a lot of things, and which is good. I think it's a good combination because I think we both bring our strengths to each other, which is really good. And then I started thinking about my friends. And, a lot of them are opposite to me. But what I think is great, and with my husband and my friends, I think what we have in common may not be our personality traits, but I think it's our core values are the same. Because I would say, all of my friends, and maybe all people, but very family oriented, very just family oriented. And so I think that that's just a really common quality about the friendships that I have and people I've known and people I get along with.
Great.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's so sentimental. I love that. Cool. Well, hey, friends out there listening, let us know what you think. Do you think that opposites attract? We want to hear your thoughts. You can leave us a comment on Twitter at @in_screens, or you can reach us at our Screens in Focus Facebook page. You can also follow us on our Instagram, and you can subscribe to our website and our YouTube channel. But for today, we are going to be talking about the first 5 episodes of The Walking Dead. Of course,
that's what we're going to be talking about. The Walking Dead, our favorite show. When's it going to come back on? I am having withdrawals. Okay, Brooke, I am having withdrawals. Just FYI.
Oh my gosh.
I'm missing it.
We are watching, I think we're on season 6 when they get to Alexandria and Deanna and everybody, and the Wolverines, the W people.
Yeah. I don't.
So we're right there.
Yeah. The wolves.
But anyways,
the wolves.
Yes, the wolves. We are not talking about The Walking Dead today.
About The Walking Dead.
So we are talking about Dead to Me. Okay, so yes, we are going to be talking about the first 5 episodes of season 2, Dead to Me. Diana, I really want to hear your thoughts overall on the first episode of season 2's Dead to Me.
So episode 1, You Know What You Did, which I love the title of that. So I thought, So I thought in episode 1, it was really clever to keep us guessing what happened to Steve exactly. I kept thinking he was under that pool cover, but then when they pull that pool cover off, he's not there. And I'm like, oh my God, right. Where is he? What happened? Because we only see at the end of season 1 that he's dead, right? I can't even remember. I didn't go back and watch this, but I know he's dead, and I know it looks like Jen did it. So, but it keeps us guessing throughout this episode, which I really, really like. And I just found Jen so much more. Was that right? Much more? Anyway, so snarky and so cold and so manipulative. Oh, she is so funny. And I mean, there's a part where she's cleaning up the blood from the pool area and her neighbor Karen comes to visit and she scares the crap out of her. And Jen says, geez, you snuck up on me like a frickin' Prius. Of course, she doesn't say frickin'. She actually swears. But and I was dying. I was dying because, you can't hear Priuses. And I just thought that was such a good line.
I love it. Yeah.
And then we learn through Karen that there are street cameras, which worries Jen because it'll show that Steve arrived at her house but never left. Also, we see that Judy is dealing with her remorse and grief after losing Steve.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I actually forgot about season 1 as far as that Steve had died. I didn't even look back at the episodes
Me
like
neither.
you. And so I'm like, oh, okay. All I knew was that I really had to see Dead to Me season 2. But for some reason, Jen killing Steve, it just didn't stick with me. So I really bummed that I forgot that. But I was pleasantly surprised to have an exciting episode, right?
Right.
So, for one, I also missed watching Jen and Judy interact together. I just love their individuality. I love their friendship. And they have that codependency, which still exists in season 2.
Oh, for sure.
And, truly, I think they have an amazing bond. They're just so connected. But Jen is torn because she is basically telling a lie about how Steve was killed in self-defense. But, Jen is now dealing with a murder, the guilt of telling her friend a big fat lie, and Judy's her best friend right now. So this is just, I think that we saw Jen having a difficult time dealing with all of that.
Yeah. You had said, I haven't gone further than the 5th episode because I didn't want to spill the beans on anything that I didn't want to bring in any of episodes 6 through 10 into these episodes. So I didn't want to, watch it. And so I'm trying to keep to it. So I'm thinking to myself, was it in self-defense? I mean, or was it not? Because as far as I know, we don't know what really, really happened. We didn't see the ending, or we don't know how he's really dead. I don't know. I mean, we've seen some things that could allude to him being dead, but is that really how he died? I don't know, which keeps me on my toes because I'm so curious. And this season has so many twists and turns. We don't know what's happening. They're throwing all kinds of stuff in. It's like crazy. It's like a soap opera, right? Yeah. So all this stuff is happening. All the things that happen in soap operas is happening. So like this next episode, episode 2, Where Have You Been? So I was shocked to see Steve at Jen's door at the end of episode 1, but we find out it's Ben, Steve's semi-identical twin, who is the complete opposite of him, which is a great way to bring James Marsden back. And we find out that Ben is a doctor and he's there looking for Steve because the FBI is after him. And then later, Judy tells Jen that she told the FBI that Ben was money laundering, which further freaks Jen out because she's worried that she'll lose her kids.
Right.
So she tells Judy that chaos follows her wherever she goes and not to open her mouth. But the next moment we see her go straight to Ben and tells him that she thinks Steve went to Mexico. So then we see Detective Perez show up at Jen's house with a restraining order against Judy right when Judy comes out of the house, which further complicates things and looks very weird as Detective Perez warns Jen that Steve knew some bad people. So then Judy tells Jen that Steve was money laundering for the Greek mafia. Okay, another bombshell from Judy. So it just keeps coming like a soap opera. It just keeps coming. And Jen's son, Henry, finds a bird in the garage. And later, Jen finds a nest there. And we come to find out that Steve is in the garage in the freezer.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, you have your kids there and you put a dead body in your freezer? What if they go out there and look at it?
I know. No, and even a little padlock is not going to come alarming. I mean, I'd be like, why is there a lock on our freezer? That's really weird that Mom is keeping us from eating all this food.
I know, right? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, through all the episodes, we see it progress and we learn just a little bit more what happened the night that Steve died.
Exactly. So in episode 3, You Can't Live Like This, Judy couldn't sleep. She's having a really difficult time dealing with the loss of Steve. So she is found by Jen in the garage, sleeping next to the freezer.
Yeah.
And eventually we see that freezer, it's making all these noises, like these rumbling noises. And the two ladies are like, oh my gosh, is he in there? What is going on? Jen ends up going and getting a rake and starts shuffling it around. And all these rats come creeping out from underneath a freezer chest.
Oh my God.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Would be going through your mind. I'd be freaking out. So that exterminator scene, it was pretty funny. And now they're going to have to figure out what to do with Steve's body because the exterminator tells them that rats can smell blood and they also have razor sharp teeth, dude. It was so hilarious.
Yeah.
So then they're looking into options of disposing Steve's body. And then Jen, she brought up having the possibility to maybe dissolving Steve's body. And Judy is like pretty grossed out by that, but she would like to have him be put to rest with dignity. But then Jen, she has to remind Judy like what a horrible person Steve was. Steve left Judy after her having 5 miscarriages. I mean, she was really pointing out all these terrible things. And it's just that Judy feels responsible for his death. But then Jen is starting to feel guilty for lying to Judy, because now Judy feels that guilt, and now Jen feels guilty for her feeling guilty.
Right.
It's like this whole domino effect
yes.
and chain. And then I liked the scene where Jen was at the real estate the property that was for sale. She was selling to these clients.
Yes.
Who, they were pregnant, going to have a baby. And so then, we see Jen, her clients are acting like a bunch of pussies when they backed out of that deal in buying that home from her. She's also really stressed out about the rats, right? Because she tells the clients, she's like, if black mold is your biggest problem, I would trade black mold for my personal problems. And then they're looking at her like, oh, wow, really? Like, you're just spilling all your, all your life to us right now. And so then she goes, I have rats. And they just gave her a really grossed out look.
I know. They're all having a baby, and she's all selling them a black mold house. It's like crazy. And she's like getting irritated with them. Like, just buy it. Just buy it. What's wrong with you?
Like, why do I even have to explain this to you?
Yeah.
And so, these rats are, they're basically an invitation from Steve's frozen corpse in the freezer. So Jen's being haunted by Steve, and she sees this freezer, and she's like having these visions, and, she's keeping this secret from Judy. So when the power went out, Jen was so close to telling Judy she did not kill Steve in self-defense. She was going to tell her the truth.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
But then the power goes out, and they had to figure out what to do with his body before he thaws.
Yeah, I know.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what about her kids? Where are her kids during this time, right?
Yes,
like, where? Okay, we can't forget about the kids. So then Shandy, Henry's friend, she catches Jen searching online how to get rid of a dead body. And she's standing behind her all creepy.
I know, she is.
Yes, that was so freaking funny. And she knows information, like these really dark secrets. And Jen asks Shandy, how do you know all these things? And she's like, the dark web. So then, Shandy introduced Jen to the dark web. So now she's just like, it's funny when Jen gets to this point because she has to listen to her death metal, her music.
Oh, yeah. You're right. That's so funny.
So she's got this like really dark secret life to herself. But Shandy is just as dark and more.
I know that little girl. She's like,
yeah.
She has the look of Wednesday on the Addams Family.
Exactly. I love this little character. I love her.
It's funny.
So then we see Judy. She met a new tenant at the live-in community that she works at. And this new tenant has a really beautiful, hot daughter. And, they actually Judy and this person have really good chemistry.
Right.
And Judy, and, she works really well with her mom. And then she's building that friendship with the daughter, AKA her smoking partner.
I know.
Very cute. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to see a developing relationship,
Exactly.
A one outside of Jen and Judy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in episode 4, Between You and Me, oh my gosh. So this starts out where they're coming back from burying Steve's body and are driving home. And Jen thinks she lost her phone and is freaking out. And she kind of has it in her hand and, she finds it. And all of a sudden you see the police lights in the back. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to get pulled over. And as they're, getting pulled over, they're all the time, oh, we got shovels in the back, in our trunk. What are we going to say? And she says, oh, tell them we're gardening. And, it's the middle of the night. And I think she says, oh, tell them we're foraging berries. And then I think she says, well, what kind of berries? I mean, it's just so funny. They're just going on and on. It's hysterical. And so then the cop pulls him over and he says, you've broken the law, or you've committed a crime. He says something and she's all, no, I didn't. And then he says basically that she had the phone. She was using her phone while she was driving. And they're like relieved that it's only that. So she gladly takes the ticket. But, I just love their comedic banter. It's just hysterical. And their timing is so good. And Jen is normally swearing up a storm, trying to stay out of trouble. And Judy wants to sing a song and please everyone. I just love these characters. And then at one point, they, go to a hotel and Judy is sitting on the bed and she just sits in silence. And Jen asks Judy if she's mad at her because it's all right if she is. And Jen says, you're the nice one and I'm the shitty one. And I felt like this was such an honest moment between them because I hadn't seen Jen show that compassion yet.
Yeah.
Maybe she has, maybe in and out, but I felt that she was truly worried about Judy. And I thought, because I kind of felt she was kind of it was all about her, she was always about what's going to happen with her kids and how is she going to get out of this. But I felt like she was finally thinking of Judy in that moment. So I really, really liked seeing that from Jen. So then she feels bad for her and they have this conversation. So they go down and have drinks downstairs at the bar and they pretend that they're a part of the wedding party to get free drinks. And they give a toast to Steve and Judy opens up to Jen about Steve and how much she loved him and why she wanted to take him to the beach and to say goodbye. And she just starts crying, which has Jen in tears. And she tells Judy that she is the kindest person she knows and tells her she loves her. And they hug and she asks Judy to be her person.
Aww.
Which I seen this twice and I didn't pick up on it the first time. So I was really glad that I watched it the second time because I thought that was such a pivotal moment between them two. And here they are bawling, hugging, being very, having that moment. And this guy comes up and hits on them and asks them for a dance. And, of course, Judy kindly says no. And Jen says, can't you see we're in the middle of something? Can't you read the room, bucko? Of course, she doesn't say bucko. She uses the F word. But it was so damn funny. And she's just brilliant at her delivery. I just love Christina Applegate in this role. Anyways, they end up dancing and drinking the night away. And I'm talking about Jeff, who is Karen's husband, who they saw there with another man. So It's all very interesting. So they arrive home and they find that the bird is dead. And they think it's the dog, but it ends up being Shandy, that strange little girl. And they bury the bird and Jen asks Judy to say a few words. And Judy sings and is remembering Steve. And it all seems very sweet. And I thought she had a great voice. Linda Cardinelli had a great voice while she was singing. But she has all these memories of her and Steve. And then at the very end, it shows him being very verbally abusive to her.
Yeah.
So it isn't all sweet and dandy. It's like he really was a, creep. So.
Yeah.
And then I didn't notice this the first time around. At the very end, they show Henry finds that bloody rock.
Oh, yeah.
That she hits him with. I missed it. I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, you didn't think to throw away the rock or wash it down with bleach? Why she puts it back, that's hysterical in itself. And then Charlie goes to the storage garage because he wants his dad's bike. But he opens it up, and what does he find? Steve's car, but he thinks it's for him.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. So isn't it a Mercedes or something? I don't even know what it is.
Super nice car.
Yeah.
Super, super nice car.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would be like, yeah, what the heck is my mom up to? Oh my gosh. Crazy episode.
Yeah.
Really good information there. Thank you. So in episode 5, The Price You Pay, Jen and Judy end up giving away the freezer to that rat exterminator. You know, it was so surreal. The two of them, Jen and Judy, walking down the aisle in the grocery store shopping.
Yeah.
And just talking about, you know, this or that. It just like they were just over it at that point. Like they had just been uplifted, right? Like
Yes.
they've got that huge weight off their shoulders.
Uh-huh.
But later Jen tells Judy that she's going to need some space and that codependency isn't working out. Judy accidentally tells Ben that Steve burned Jen out of the deal in purchasing the condo.
Uh-huh.
That's another one. So Lorna is just hilarious. That's Jen's mother-in-law.
Yeah.
And she ended up closing the deal with the pregnant couple, and then she basically smears it all over Jen's face. And it's that scene was really funny when she was like, "What are you doing playing basketball? Aren't you like 50?" She's like, "No, I'm not 50." She's "Are you sure?" So cute. But Jen wants to sell the home. It's their home that Lorna just, ends up describing. And, Jen was very surprised. She didn't realize that home was an investment property and she's not going to be able to sell because she wants a better life or she's not able to make the mortgage payment or she's behind on the mortgage.
Right.
And Lorna was like, "No, you need to snap out of it. Your sales are going down." And she goes hard on her.
I know.
Yeah. But so when Jen supposedly threw her back out playing basketball with Charlie, we already knew that's a lie. But Ben pays a visit to Jen and, and so he hits her up, about her relationship that she had with Steve because of what Judy had said. So he's like trying to put these together. And he'd even told her like, "Oh, you could have been the last person that has seen him." And she's like on defense. She's like, "No, he knew a lot of people." And he was like, "Okay." But in that scene, Jen's having back issues and she's like crutching over to get files because she's now Ben's real estate agent and looking for a temporary resident for him. Yeah. And so she's like keeling over. We
can relate, right, Brooke? We can relate to this. It was so funny.
Oh my gosh, I was cracking up because like every time she was like uncomfortable, I'm like, that's exactly how it feels.
I believed it. Yes, I totally believed it. She was good.
Yes. So yeah, I just thought that was hysterical. So Ben, what a good guy he is. He helps get Jen home, and gosh, you know how many times I would have loved to have a ride, when I'm in that severe back pain mode. I'm like, somebody just, come to my rescue, my aid. And he was the guy that did that. I think that was really, really sweet that he helped her out. But when he's there at Jen's house, Karen, the neighbor, comes over with wine, that orange infused wine or whatever. And then she feels for some reason that it's appropriate to blast Ben, thinking that he was the one on that street camera. Well, Jen put Karen in check, and Karen ends up leaving in tears and without her wine. Jen took that away from her too. Charlie and Parker, they get caught in the Mercedes. Ooh. That belongs to Steve, and oh my gosh,
I don't know if they had clothes on.
Yeah, they were partially.
I was like, what?
Yeah, partially clothed. But like driving around, cruising around in that Mercedes all day, what if Ben saw the car? Like, I don't know. Yeah, or all these street cameras are picking up the feed that he's been cruising down the street in, and I'm thinking, that could be used as evidence one day. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he ends up getting in trouble because he ended up running out of gas in the night, and he calls Jen. Jen calls Judy. Jen leaves Ben. Judy leaves her new friend. I forgot. Michelle. Thank you. And so then they go to pick up Charlie and Parker, and they are like so freaking out, shocked. Like, what are they going to do with this car? It's out of gas. So they brought gas, and Jen, when Charlie, Parker, and Judy leave, Jen throws the gas all over the car and lights a cigarette and lights the car on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, really? Now they have to deal with this burnt up vehicle. It's just crazy. And I think there was something that Charlie had thrown in the back seat. So that's probably, we might see that later in Charlie's backpack. I'm not sure. There was something in the center console that he picked up.
Yeah, you're right. But I don't know what it was.
It had a USB drive in there. So it's probably got some information on the mafia, I'm thinking. And he threw it in the back seat.
Uh-huh.
And so it's got to be in his backpack now. It has to. I'm suspecting.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes.
I haven't moved on. I'm not far into the season, so I did not look that up at all. It's just my thought. Anyways, I love Michelle's restaurant. Michelle is a chef.
Yeah.
And all the food that she cooked for Judy, that romantic evening, it just looks so good. And all Michelle wanted to do was to make Judy happy. I thought that was so sweet. And I'm just really impressed and glad that Judy met Michelle. And I think that Judy is handling a lot of trauma, and I think she's handling it particularly well, being that she has Michelle to look forward to. So I'm glad for her, because I feel like in season 1, Judy was very vulnerable, dealing with a lot of guilt and emotion. And so I think having, Jen telling her to give her some space, and now Judy's able to, fill that void with Michelle. I think that's good for her. And I'm happy to see that. I just want to say Ben is really, really cute and dorky.
Yeah.
He did this dance to cheer up Jen, and he then opened up to Jen about the sadness and guilt that he is having, possibly not having the chance to make amends with his brother, Steve. I thought that was a really heartfelt moment coming from Ben.
I thought it was a nice moment too. His dance moves were cracking me up, and then I felt like Jen, Christina Applegate, laughing at him was so genuine. I think she probably really did find it so funny, and it was a fun moment between them too.
Yeah.
So
he was laughing really, really sweet. I liked it. I liked that scene. It was cute. Yeah. So Diana, tell me other thoughts about these episodes.
So, I just wanted to point out again that James Marsden is playing both Ben and Steve, and it's crazy because they're complete opposites. I mean, he got to play one character in season 1, and now he's playing this other character because he's so like, as Steve, to me, he's such a nice looking guy, very that whole thing. He's the bad boy. He's nice looking. He just gives you that smile, and girls kind of melt and all of that. And then he's playing Ben, who's very sweet and nice. And it's funny, but I mean, he's still a good-looking guy, but why is he better looking as Steve than he is as Ben? I'm like, holy crap, is that really how, our minds work? It's like, oh, he's the bad boy? Or is it because of the way he dresses or the way he's got his hair? I don't know, but I can see, I feel like it's almost two different people. Like, I believe he's a twin, right? And that it's not really the same person. So it's just interesting. I thought that was very interesting. And it must be
cool.
Fun to play both roles.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then Jen in episode 3 was paying for the presidential suite, and trying to give spa treatments to Judy. But then in episode 5, she's broke and her credit card isn't working anymore. So I just thought, really? You really? I mean, that's just so, either they didn't pay attention to that part, or because of her frivolous spending or whatever you want to call it, that's how she got in this situation. So I just find that interesting, how she was just so free and throwing money around. Because I thought she was like well off. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, she has so much money. She sells real estate. And then all of a sudden she was broke. And I was like, how'd she get broke? What the heck happened? So, and then, oh my gosh, this season, Jen has cried a lot, but Judy has cried in every episode. And I don't mean a couple of tears. She's like bawling. And I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I just think that their acting their performances are they're really getting into character. So I just want to kind of give them kudos for that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, is there going to be a romance between Judy and Michelle? And also with Ben and Jen? I'm just wondering how those relationships, if they flourish, will affect their friendship. Like, I feel like it could get in the way somewhere. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. And, oh gosh, it was very alarming to see Judy treat herself so badly when she went into the bathroom and she was hitting herself and yelling at herself in such an abusive manner. I felt really, really sad for her. And it's as if she was repeating what had been said to her previously, either by Steve or other people. And I was like, one, I felt so bad for the character. And two, I felt like Linda Cardinelli was doing an extraordinary job acting at that point. So it was really good to see that. And then, as an actor, not as a person, because I think that was horrible.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's all very interesting how season 1 found Judy as the one who was keeping a deadly secret from Jen. And this year it's Jen keeping that deadly secret.
Exactly. And she's going through it.
Yeah. Okay. So, Brooke, what were your thoughts on these first 5 episodes?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to eat a piece of pie just like the one that Jen ate at Cindy's restaurant after they buried Steve.
Yeah.
That pie, I mean, the old-fashioned diner, and then the when you go inside, there's that big bar, that counter, and then the waitress, she's wearing the uniform. I thought that waitress and Jen, they were just so hilarious together. They did not like each other.
Yeah.
And then Jen was just like, what kind of pie? Well, what do you have? Cherry. Well, what other pie? Cherry. This pie's dry. Can I get the whipped cream? It was just back and forth funny. And
then she gives her the can, and then the can is empty.
She knew it. But it's crazy because I would say that her eating that pie, like, just looking at it as maybe a metaphor, it was like she was just indulging into Steve's death. Like, the pie was cherry. Cherry pie looks like bloody guts, Yeah. And it's got this dry outer shell. And I just, like, to me, it looked like a cannibal. I was like, dang, she's above the law. Like, she doesn't even care. But let's see. Oh, and then Jen, when she ran into Jeff, which is Karen's husband, while he was on his romantic getaway with another man.
Yeah.
I'm looking ahead, and I'm thinking that she can use that as blackmail for Jeff. Maybe if she needs him to delete that surveillance of Steve coming to her house and not leaving.
That's a good thought. Yeah.
I have not looked at anything. I have not watched anything past this. And I'm just thinking that, well, they had to have thrown that in there for something.
Right.
And then with Charlie, just him really wanting to have a car and drive, get his license. I remember that feeling so well. It hurt so bad. I wanted to drive bad. I really wanted to drive. And in fact, I don't know if I've ever told you, but if there were keys and there was a car, you better watch out, because I'm going to take that car. I mean, and I will not tell you how old I was, but yeah, let's just say I don't blame Charlie for doing what he did.
That's so funny.
And then Jen at the hardware store, when she was buying all that chemicals to dissolve, the body.
Oh,
and then
gosh.
she takes, I mean, she's carrying like 6 gallons of this solvent and leaving a store like crazy person. And the sales clerk is like, oh, you got a clog? You need dissolve or whatever. It's just funny. But then, she gets home and she throws, she's all suited up and got her respirator on, and she throws a rat in there, and Judy walks in and sees this rat, and she thinks it's Steve, and she freaks out. And that scene was, I think, an epic scene, like to have the guts to do that, to
like
melt an entire human being.
So morbid. That's awful. That's
what
awful.
The hell?
Oh my God.
Like, what if it didn't go through your plumbing and like your plumbing burst?
Oh yeah.
You'd have a bigger problem.
I know. There's so many things. So many things. I thought about when she threw that cigarette, when she lit that cigarette and she threw it in. I'm like, why is she lighting it? I'm thinking, they're going to get DNA from that cigarette, or they're going to be able to tell. It's just, I'm all, thinking all these things that they shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Or how that cop pulled Charlie over. He's going to remember that, driving that car. I just have like all these things that could happen. It's just crazy. But I do
you know what that? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. What?
Do you know what that's a sign of?
What?
You and I watch a lot of PI investigative shows, and we have gained so much knowledge.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, first of all, you cannot have your cell phone at the place where somebody was buried.
Right.
Because that's going to be like traceable.
Yes. Exactly. You get the pings from the
they're watching
towers.
You. Yeah.
But I was also going to say, go back to one of the episode. I think it was the 5th episode at the beginning when they're shopping, and that interaction with Tyler or whatever that cashier was. That was so darn funny.
Exactly.
Because she doesn't have enough money to pay, and he says, well, she's all, swipe it again. He's all, I already did. And he's all, well, maybe, I think you're out of money. And then he says, why don't you put a few of these bottles back? You've got 8 of them. And then she's all, what are you, the sheriff police? Because I'm the dick police. Or I don't know what she says, but they go on. And then she takes the bottle away from him and it goes flying off. And then he's all, I'm not cleaning that up. And she's all, well, I'm not paying for it. And then Judy picks up paper towels and says, I'll clean it up. I'm like, oh my God.
That's funny.
It's so reflective of all their personalities.
Exactly.
It was a great moment.
Yeah, those are all really good other thoughts about the episode. So just let us know what your thoughts are. We'd love to hear anything that you caught on to that we may have not. But Diana, what else are you watching?
I feel like I'm watching a lot. So I'm continuing to watch Run on HBO, Defending Jacob on Apple TV. I'm really loving that. Oh my gosh, I just watched last night. I'm just totally hooked. I started watching This Much I Know with Mark Ruffalo. It's only been 2 episodes. That's on HBO. That one, it's very good. It's so well acted by Mark Ruffalo. He plays twins. So I guess twins is a common thing here because here's James Marsden. Now it's Mark Ruffalo. Oh, yeah. But he plays the 2 brothers, and one of the brothers is a schizophrenic. And so it is, it gets a little depressing, a little sad watching it. But the acting is so well done that if, you really like watching movies for that or shows for that, that's really good.
Okay.
It is not a light program, though.
Okay.
But as far as movies, I watched The Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Michelle Dockery, Hugh Grant, Colin Farrell. I mean, all these great, beautiful men and this pretty beautiful woman. Anyways, it's directed by Guy Ritchie. It's a crime comedy, and it's pretty entertaining. McConaughey plays Mickey Pearson, who is an American marijuana kingpin in England who's looking to sell his business, setting off a chain of blackmail and schemes to undermine him.
Oh, okay.
So that's you have to pay attention in that movie, but it's really well done, and it's a good movie.
Cool.
I also watched Extraction on Netflix. This is an action thriller starring Chris Hemsworth as a black ops mercenary who must rescue an Indian drug lord's kidnapped son in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The action sequences are so good. I felt like I was almost on a ride. And then I read that they shot it similar to how, like, the movie 1917, how what appears to be a continuous shot.
Yeah.
That's basically what they do. And it's pretty intense, and there's a lot of violence. So please beware. But I liked it, and I just thought it was shot really well.
Okay,
so,
cool.
But a lot of violence on that one. That's Netflix. I think it got a lot. I think it was on the top. You know how they have their what's first,
Top
second,
10?
third? Yeah, I think it was pretty up there. Okay. So it got a lot of streams. I also watched Jumanji: The Next Level. I got a DVD on this one. Of course, this is the fantasy action comedy that stars Dwayne Johnson and Jack Black and Kevin Hart, along with others reprising their roles from the previous film. Also, Awkwafina and Danny Glover and Danny DeVito joined the cast. So the film takes place 3 years after Welcome to Jumanji, in which the same group of teenagers, along with unwitting additions, become trapped in Jumanji. Of course, they face new problems and challenges, and they have avatar mishaps and learn more about each other along the way. And it's a really fun movie, and it makes me want to go back and watch the original with Robin Williams again.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say it's a really good family movie. It's just fun and entertaining. So
yeah,
I would recommend that. I also saw Becoming, the documentary on Michelle Obama. And usually Brooke is the one watching documentaries, but I just really wanted to watch this. And I really enjoyed it. So the director is Nadira Halgren, and this doc follows Michelle Obama through her 34-city book tour, which was, after the release of her book, also entitled Becoming. And it features footage of Michelle's travels, her talk shows, and her work during her tenure as the First Lady. But what I really love, I love her honesty, her connection to people, how passionate she is about the younger generation. I mean, she met with high schoolers, high school women, and asked them about their lives and their aspirations for the future. And these women were inspired by her, and which was really great to see. And Michelle talks about her upbringing in Chicago South Side and how a guidance counselor told her she wasn't Princeton material. Oh my gosh, I am so happy she didn't listen to them, but followed her own voice and her own path. And here she is, a graduate of Princeton and Harvard Law, and it's how she met her future husband at the law firm she was at. Wow. And it's funny because she talks about he was late for their first date, but he flashed that smile, and she's like, okay, I'll let him pass this time. But I just found it to be a really good documentary that I would highly recommend. There's just so much more in that. I'm just giving you tidbits, but I loved it. Have you seen it, Brooke?
No, not yet. I have not.
I really enjoyed listening to so much. She talks about being in the White House, about being in the spotlight. She just sheds so much light on it. And I love her honesty. So it's really good. Cool. And then we had our podcast on 84 on 80s movies. I didn't get to watch. There's so many, a lot of them. So I watched Steel Magnolias, and I enjoyed watching it again. So it was good.
I love Steel Magnolias. I love 80s movies, but I love Steel Magnolias.
Yeah.
And I loved your recommendations. I cannot wait to watch some of these movies and shows. Thank you, Diana.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
What are you watching?
Well, I don't know if I can top yours, but I did some 80s last weekend also, and I was in the mood to watch some Van Damme movies, and we watched Bloodsport and Kickboxer. Those are two different movies, and Bloodsport is based on true events, and it's basically Jean-Claude Van Damme, where in this movie, he is trained, and so that he could challenge and battle another, what is it called? Like a
competitor?
Competitor, thank you. And in Hong Kong. So it's really, because it's 80s and the way that it's filmed, you see a lot of the community out there and just kind of how things internationally are different. And because this is also based on true events, it was really interesting to know his records and his titles and just everything that kickboxing community, how they go through or what they go through. And so I thought that was a really good recommendation for a Jean-Claude movie if you're feeling up to it.
Can I say something about Jean-Claude?
Mm-hmm.
So my husband's birthday, and of course he loves DVDs, so I'm buying him DVDs. He wanted Universal Soldier.
Oh yeah.
So I bought him two, but I bought him the wrong two. I didn't realize Universal Soldier had like 6 movies under that title.
Oh, okay.
And so I bought him the wrong ones. So I'm sure he's going to watch them, and then we're going to get the one. He wanted the original one is one he wanted, but I just thought I'd share that with you because you were bringing up Jean-Claude.
Yeah, so, that one was one of the ones that we watched repeatedly, as well as Kickboxer. But yeah, Universal Soldier is a good one. It's not the same. The sequels are not the same. So Kickboxer is another movie that I love, and that one was Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he's basically defending his brother. His brother was in a match against Tong Po in Bangkok, Thailand, and he crippled his brother. So Jean-Claude Van Damme wants a rematch to help defend his brother's name and title because he was wrongly attacked in a match. And so, yeah, this one's also really good too. So you get to see Jean-Claude Van Damme training, and he's got like this incredible lean, muscular body, and like he's so flexible. It's crazy. This man, he was an amazing artist.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I definitely recommend Kickboxer if you haven't seen it, or if you just want to watch a retro throwback. I recommend this movie. Thank
you, Brooke.
You are welcome.
You make me want to watch them again.
You've got to.
Okay, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We are grateful you tuned in, and we hope something that we said today resonated with you and gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our podcast and tell a friend. We would love more members of our TV club. If you could do us a big favor and rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts, we need your feedback.
Yeah, so thank you so much. We will be uploading our new episode in a couple of weeks. Our next show will be on Dead to Me Season 2, episodes 6 through 10. You could find our website listed in our show notes. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.